What's going on, everybody, and welcome to it's been a long time. Welcome to another episode of Between the Ropes, of course, with the insiders, Jeff and myself. We're glad to be here. It is winding down on the fireworks department, which I'm very happy about, since it's been terrifying my poor dog and keeping us awake much later than we wanted to be over the last couple of days. But in any case, hope you all, if you celebrated, of course, Independence Day, I hope you all had a great 4th of July, and I hope you were all safe and things like that. One thing I do want to say, before we get everything started is our thoughts and our prayers go out to the children in Texas and the families in Texas. If you haven't heard, a major flood came out of it, just came out of nowhere, flash flooding. And it basically, there were a lot of girls at a camp there, and basically just came down. They couldn't prepare for it, washed away, and there are a lot of children missing. And so obviously our thoughts and prayers go out to their families. And hopefully that they will find some more, but a very, very tragic disaster that things just happen. Nature happens, and they couldn't prevent what happened. I know the Cowboys donated $500,000 to them to try to help the efforts and stuff like that. But my wife told me about it. And of course, look, anytime, and Jeff has a daughter, and I of course have two daughters, and anytime you see anything like that, it's tragic, and your heart's hurt for the parents, because you can easily put yourself into a situation like that, where your kids could have been somewhere and something bad happened. So obviously, on this 4th of July weekend, we're keeping them, of course, in our prayers and our thoughts for the parents, and of course for the children as well. So I just wanted to start off with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I echo everything you just said. I think sometimes as a society we get so calloused by things that we see in the media and on social media, and just how cruel the world can be. I think sometimes our humanity escapes us, and unfortunately it's tragic events like this that give us a stark reminder that we're all human. So yeah, definitely sending my thoughts and prayers to everyone down there, all the families, everyone affected, and just pray that we can get to a point where we can love each other again and be kind to one another. And yeah, it's kind of where my head is at.
Yeah, 100%, Jeff. And when tragedy does strike, and look, it kind of, we kind of all get hit by things, and I know that when things do happen, you want your family, of course, to be there for you, but you also want the kind words. You also want your friends and even people maybe you don't know very well. You kind of want them to be around you and giving, sharing kind words and stuff like that. So yeah, like Jeff said, it's, and I know I say this at the end of every episode we do, but being kind is just a wonderful thing to do. And any way that you want to show it. When you see people in time of need or anything like that, and like Jeff said, it's just something that unfortunately I think we, as a society, have kind of gotten away from a little bit, and we need to really do that. We need to really do that and just kind of stop and think sometimes when something like that happens. That there are people in much worse off situations than we are, and we kind of tend to forget because you're living your own life. But yeah, I know as a parent, that kind of thing that really does hit you. So I really hope that you do that. Keep them in mind, of course, through this holiday and stuff like that. And yeah, if you're still celebrating, like I said, stay safe out there because it is very easy to get. We've seen NFL players getting injured with fireworks and stuff like that. So it's very easy to do that. So just be careful. That goes for any holiday really that you're going through. But we are back, and it's been a long time, and we have got a lot of stuff to talk about. We have a big menu of stuff on the plate for you tonight. We're going to go through all of it. We've got news, we've got discussions to make about all different companies, and then of course we've got some grievances and stuff like that too. So yeah, we're going to get started. Let me just see who's here real quick. Terrence, hello. What's up, Derek? How are you? Let's see. Andrew Stevens. Hello, Andrew and Damien. How are you? Dylan, Jason Stoffer. We've got Brandon. Deanna's here. Hello. Melonhead. Hello, Melonhead. Clown. And Brandon so far. So before we get started, if you are new to the channel, just listening to us maybe for the first time, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the like on the stream for us tonight. That goes for all of you in the chat too. It helps us out, helps get the video seen and all that good stuff. So make sure you do that as well and hit the notification button to be notified about when we have future content, which our next show will be on Tuesday because the Wyatt Six are back and at 'em, man. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. A lot of stuff going on with them now. They're involved in a lot of tag team stuff. We saw Bo wrestling this week, which is very cool. So make sure you join Jeff and Chris on Tuesday at 6 o'clock for Fireflies Forever. And then we will be back for TNA on Thursday as well this week. And we're inching closer and closer to Slammiversary, which is their next big pay-per-view and one of the biggest that they do of the year. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. So, Jeff, what do we got on the slate, man?
Well, let's get to the news, shall we? We'll play the little opener here and get to the news.
All right, we're gonna get to some breaking news, and I think there was just two stories that I saw today. One of them was concerning Roman Reigns and some feuds that he may want to be involved in when he comes back. Which I think is interesting because, of course, we all know he's going to be back more than likely for SummerSlam. So, and you guys can tell us in the chat who do you think Roman should be feuding with? Some of the names they mentioned, Jeff, Braun Breaker. Obviously, I love that. I think that would be great. I'm trying to think who else they had in there.
Loser can never use the spear again.
Ooh, nice little stipulation there. There you go. There you go. Oh, they also had CM Punk as a possible feud for that. That, of course, stemming from the ties they had to Paul Heyman and everything like that too. They had Bronson Reed as a possibility for a feud for Roman. But Jeff, of all of those, and even something on your own, who would you like to see Roman Reigns come back and feud with?
I think it's the one that needs to happen that we haven't really had a full conclusion on.
Okay.
And that's Seth.
Okay, yeah.
I really want to see them go at it. Like, not just one match and that's it. I want to see months of them just bringing up old stuff from the past and reliving those Shield days and Seth throwing things in his face now that Roman's going to be by himself. I really want to see that. But there was, CM Punk, obviously. Braun Breaker is great. Trying to think. Even Solo down the line, I think would be really good, because I got to say this about Solo. I don't think this gets said enough. I don't think people truly appreciate his talent, not only in the ring, but his comedic timing. Dude's hilarious. And there's always at least one spot in every single Solo match where it's like, man, this dude he's hilarious, and people just don't pick up on it. So got to shout out Solo too.
Yeah. I mean, certainly the history there and everything else. Jason Stauffer saying he saw some breaking news earlier saying we could get some really righteous snapping in WWE. Yeah, you're talking about the righteous possibly moving to WWE. Listen, I love those guys, and they certainly would be a great pickup for WWE if that did happen. I would very much enjoy seeing them in WWE. I think they'd be really good there. So that's kind of cool. But who would you guys? Let's see. Andrew says Bloodline Civil War: Jacob, Jimmy, Jay, and Roman versus Solo, JC, Tonga Loa, and Tala Tonga. Yeah, look, I mean, we really never got a finish to all that Bloodline stuff, right? Like it, went on for a while, but really never got a lot of completion about that, because Roman went on to some other things and really went on about the whole Heyman stuff. But yeah, never got the completion with that. I think Jeff's thing with Seth makes a lot of sense because, with the whole Heyman thing going on in between the two of them. But yeah, I saw somebody made a comment up there about what Roman's going to wrestle and all that kind of stuff. Look, Andy, it's Andy. We're just confined to the fact that he is going to be a part-timer. That's just what it is. He's honestly, look, whether that be because you got to remember too, Andy, that he had major health problems, major health problems. I mean, cancer. So look, and there were a lot of rumors that were saying he was gonna leave a while ago. And start acting and things like that and doing other things.
He's in the new Street Fighter movie coming up.
There you go. So. And Jeff's right. He's earned it. If that's what he wants to do, he's earned it. He put his place on the history books of wrestling with that famous run that he had, that we all talked about with the whole bloodline and everything like that. The run that went on. That's probably never or in a very long time going to be surpassed. So yeah, look, it is what it is. And I said this even before recently, is that when you see Roman now, it's going to be an event. It's going to be an event. Mm-hmm. And that's just what it is. So when you see him, you kind of just want to, it's like Cena now and stuff like that. You want to just cherish that because you don't know how long it's going to be. That's why you put him in these big things. So Alexa Bliss Gamer says Alexa Bliss will be on the Bellas podcast tomorrow. That's cool. Yeah, look, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in my favorite moments, but the Alexa Bliss thing in Charlotte, I'm loving that. Yeah, I'm digging that, man. What about Charlotte turning around giving her a big hug? Where did that come from? Charlotte's a hugger all of a sudden. So
Bailey's gonna get her for gimmick infringement,
right. Charlotte's a hugger, but look, that kind of stuff is exciting too because it's leading up to Evolution, and I'm down with that. I'm excited for that because I know we're gonna get some surprises in Evolution, and you're starting to see some of the legends coming around. I'm positive that Mickie James is going to be involved. That's there or be there or something like that. So But I'm excited about Evolution. I think that's a great thing for women's wrestling, and to show off all the individual talents of all these women that are there. So I'm excited for that too. So that's really all I had for breaking news, Jeff. I don't know if you saw anything else other than that I brought up, but that's all I really saw.
All I know, and I didn't get a chance to see exactly what it says. I just got a notification that the Wyatt Six had a tweet, or a post, but I don't know what it said because I was getting on here. So
let's take a look.
And I know somebody said it up in the chat, Ishii. So shout out Ishii.
Wyatt Six. Let's see what they said. 4 hours ago. And it says, do you see? And then it says, soon you will. And it says, the message will spread. The message will spread. And that's all it is. It's just the message will spread. But it's in, always the cryptic stuff. This is what it looks like. It's going to be hard to see. But it just says the message will spread. And there's those 2 columns on your left. And there's 2 other columns on the bottom. So I'm not sure if those symbols mean anything. Like kind of looks like an inverted T on the bottom or a letter. But I don't know. It's always very cryptic. And let's see what people are saying about it. Underneath, people saying, nobody really, let's see, what message? And then people are quoting the Bible, the scripture, Acts 16-37. But Paul said unto them, they have beaten us openly and condemned, being Romans, and have cast us into prison. And now do they trust us out privily? Nay, verily, but let them come themselves and fetch us out. Somebody put Matthew 7:9. Which of you, if your son asks for bread, will give him a stone? So I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure Wrestling will delve into it. But that is what the Wyatt Six indeed said. So we'll see. Maybe, Jason was talking about the righteous. Maybe that's where Jason got that from. I don't know. But yeah, look, it's always fun when they do this, the cryptic stuff, and it's great. Like I said earlier, seeing them in the involved in the tag team stuff in the tag team division, and certainly I would imagine that they might be in line to get those belts. So, but yeah, there you could see it. Like I said, whether or not that means something, there could be symbolism behind that. There could be numbers behind it, but I don't know. We'll have to see. So, all right, cool. Well, we'll move on from breaking news. And Jeff, what do we got up first on the slate?
All right, so up first, Drew is back.
Yeah. How about that? Drew McIntyre just kind of out of nowhere. We got the big stuff going on at the beginning of the show, and Drew comes down and kind of throws his name in the hat a little bit and gets in between Cody Rhodes and and Randy Orton, and they're I guess you could kind of say it was kind of a love fest, but kind of gets in between them a little bit, and I'm sure that this is probably just kind of in the grand scheme of things, probably just trying to separate Cody away from Randy Orton a little bit, and so that would make sense where you're probably going to have a feud now between Drew and Randy, which is cool. Hey, look, Drew has been the guy all year this year to kind of come back and ruin everybody's party, but him and Randy Orton would be a great matchup. And of 2 ring veterans, and I'm down for it if that's going to happen at SummerSlam, Jeff.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, Drew has. I've been a fan of Drew for a while, but over this last year or two, he's just really taken his game to a whole new level. So yeah. I'm really a fan of Drew these days, and man, Randy obviously being the legend that he is. I want to see them do some business. I think it'll be pretty good. And these 2 on a microphone might be a little bit dangerous, and I like it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and man, yeah, you're right. Drew has really stepped up his game when it comes to talking. He's honestly, and people can look at him years and years ago and say he was probably not one of the worst talkers out there. Now he's right up there. He is really, really good at doing that now. And yeah, look, it's great to see him back. He was gone for a little while. So yeah, I mean, we all know that SummerSlam is coming up.
Oh, is that official?
What's that?
Bonus Baby saying they did it for Saturday night's main event. Let me look and see.
Oh, I didn't know that. Saturday night's main event is the matches are getting like tossed around a lot on the internet, where they're not announcing them right away.
Let's see here.
Yeah, let's find out.
Come on. I'll get it one day. There we go.
Updated lineup for Saturday night's main event. Let's see what they've got here. Gunther versus Goldberg. Yes, we knew that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, he's right. Yeah, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton.
It's there.
Seth Rollins and LA Knight. So, yeah, okay. Well, there you go. That's going to be an interesting show, which I'm sure we're going to discuss a little bit later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that's going to be an interesting show, and going to be you're gonna hear some opinions from us on Saturday night's main event in a little bit. We got some other people in. Let's see. You got Sean Rousset, Ishii. Let's see if anybody else came in. Brandon, yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure I welcome some other people in. But yeah, so there you go. Drew is coming back, or he is back, and he's got a match scheduled with Randy Orton on Saturday night's main event, which is becoming a must-watch episode of that for sure. Yeah, very cool. What do we got next, Jeff?
All right, up next, let's talk a little bit about Seth Rollins and his faction. What are your thoughts on it so far, Joe?
Look, I think that as with almost any faction, right? You've got the two big guys as the bodyguards, right? Seth is the leader, of course. Paul is kind of the mouthpiece, the brains behind the brawn. And then you have Breaker, and you
I see what you did there.
Yeah, the brains behind the brawn. You have the two big guys, right? But the pecking order is there. But eventually, Jeff, what's going to happen to this faction is like almost any other. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen soon or they're going to wait for a while, but you're going to start to see some cracks because you've got guys in there with big egos, okay? And it's not just Seth. You've got other guys in there that are going to want their place in the sun. And they're happy right now doing what they're doing. And they're beating up the guys. They're kind of, doing Seth's bidding. But, eventually, and now a lot of people are kind of predicting that they think that Seth is going to take the title and off of Gunther. And it could even happen at Saturday night's main event. So, we'll see how that goes. But Jeff, I like it. I like what they're doing. They've got, look, this is kind of a throwback, I think, a throwback faction a little bit to me. And it has even some shades of NWO in a way. Because, you've got the mouthpiece there, but then, again, Hogan was the center of attention, but he always had the big guys on his side. He always had Kevin Nash, Scott Hall were kind of like the two men behind him, and they were the ones that would a lot of times fight the battles for him and come to his aid. And then that fractures all of a sudden. So I'm thinking down the road, that's probably what's going to end up happening, especially if Seth does get the title, because then the other two are going to start to be like, well, okay, we did all this for you, but now what's in for us,
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, what's going to happen. But look, anytime that Paul Heyman is behind something and doing something there, I'm going to enjoy it because we don't know how long Paul is going to be around or how long he's going to stay in pro wrestling. So I just enjoy what he does. And it's more fun to me because I miss managers. I've said that before. I think wrestling needs more managers, and you just don't see it as much. It's kind of a lost art. And I kind of wish they would do it more often because I think they contribute well to the storyline. But I like it. I know a lot of some people are saying, it's getting boring. They do the same thing. But I don't think so. I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see some of the redundancy with it early on, but now I'm kind of getting an understanding of what's going on and what I think may end up happening. Paul Heyman is so good, man.
Yeah.
Like he's so good. And you add Seth into the mix. Seth is great. I mean, he's one day people will be talking about him like, hey, is he on your Mount Rushmore kind of deal? So, yeah, I'm loving it. I need a name though. If you were to give this group a name, Joe, what would the name of the group be?
That's a great call. That's a great question. I'll have to think on that a little bit. Maybe toward the end of the show we'll come up with something. And guys, you can think of stuff too.
Please.
Think of stuff too. And we'll revisit this. We'll revisit it toward the end of the show. And we'll see what everybody came up with. I think it's, man, that's a great question. Yeah, I think it's going to be something. It would be kind of cool if they did name it, because all factions usually do. Alexa Bliss Gamer says the Oracle. Cool name. I'll beat the drum again that the NWO should just have stayed Hogan, Hall, and Nash. Maybe X-Pac, but it got to. Oh yeah, they went crazy with that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, 75% of the roster was on.
That's it. It's true. They got a little nuts with that. Yeah, I mean, when Disco Inferno is in the NWO, then that you've jumped the shark.
Yeah, big time.
If Seth were to bring anyone else in, ignoring if people leave for now, who do you think may be added? I think it's good the way it is. I don't know if you mean like if Braun Breaker or something would leave or break off from. I don't know. Often I kind of thought Sammy might not be a bad idea, and there were times when I thought Sammy might turn, and maybe that's what's going on with Karrion Kross. Maybe Karrion is going to turn him. There's another good one. If Braun and Bronson leave, I would love to see Karrion Kross join up with Seth. I think he'd be perfect for it. Mm-hmm. So I think Kross would be great. Kross is devious as all get out. Plus, then you'd have Paul Heyman, and you would have Scarlett as well in the faction, which would give have a woman in the faction, which I think would be cool. So yeah, I would kind of dig that. Jeff, I am going old school and I'm calling the group the Dangerous Alliance. Okay.
I like that. Old school throwback to WCW days.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Yeah. Keep thinking about that. We'll definitely come back to it. But yeah, so far, Jeff, I think I think they're doing a great job. It's not getting boring. They're injecting the Seth stuff in with LA Knight in there too. So it's not just Seth going after the, they are making a lot of enemies. And again, that's what happens. And things will come back to haunt them a little bit. And obviously we're getting that match on Saturday night's main event too. So yeah, I think they're doing great so far. And I'm not surprised, Jeff. Anything that Paul Heyman touches is just usually very good.
Yeah, absolutely. No, never really any concerns about Paul Heyman.
Yep, absolutely.
All right,
go ahead. Deanna just said, I think Kross has master planned this all along. You know what, Jeff, I'd love to see, and it's been, we haven't talked in a while with everybody, but I love the ovation and the crowd cheering that he got when he went overseas. I thought that was great. I thought that was probably the best thing that we've seen Cross get since he has been in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw how Scarlett reacted to it and everything, and that was great to see. I am a fan of his, and I'm very glad to see him getting some recognition. And I hope that keeps going.
Absolutely.
Derek has a counterpoint. Says I still can't get into the set stuff yet. It just isn't doing anything for me personally. Okay, fair enough. Not everything's going to hit everybody the same way. Look, when we last spoke to you guys, which was a while ago, but Jeff and I were kind of talking about how things were a little stale. That wrestling was kind of getting a little stale and stuff like that. But I've been getting into it more lately because I think of just some things that are happening that are different. And like I just mentioned, Karrion Kross. Having the Wyatt six-pack obviously is another fun one, and things like that. So just other things that are going on in professional wrestling. I think it's and of course the stuff we're seeing in TNA, the changes and stuff like that in TNA, and the people they brought into the women's the knockouts division and stuff. So I'm coming back to the fold, which is a good thing because the year kind of did start off a little bit down. So So. All right, man. What do we got next? Hello, Conrad, by the way.
All right. Up next, we're going to talk about Evolution.
All right. Yes. Look, I'm very, very glad, as I said earlier, that they brought this back. I think this is something, Jeff, honestly, that they should do every year. They should make this a permanent thing every single year.
Yeah.
Especially WWE with their, oh, my God, with all the people they have in NXT. All the people that they have on the main roster, and then of course the people who are on those other shows that are just getting their feet wet in wrestling, and then you have people from TNA who could even cross over into that show as well. So I love this. I think I thought it was a great idea from the start. I remember when Mickie James was involved in that one when we did that show. That they had all the people from TNA there, and then she had people from NWA, and they were doing something similar. So I love this. I think it's great. Again, I think it spotlights the women. Obviously, we got some title matches and stuff now that were added to the show. We have this new team up with Alexa and Charlotte, and other things going on. But I think that they should look into this being a permanent thing. Every year, not just every 4 or 5 years. I think this should be a pay-per-view every single year.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think just because I'm going to be one of those fans tonight, I'm going to allow myself to be one of those fans who it can't be good enough until I get it my way. I'm just playing. I would love to see it, though, at some point become its own weekend. And I would love to see like a Saturday show.
Like an NXT Saturday or
I mean, even if they did a showcase of like cross promotional matches or featuring indie talent or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
And then the Sunday can be the big show with NXT, TNA, WWE, whoever they want to have, and throw it in. Yeah, I know, Deanna. I know. I'm being funny, but I would love to see that eventually get to that point where it could become its like own weekend, and it's not just serving WWE talent or talent associated with WWE. It's serving women's wrestling as a whole.
Yeah, that would be awesome, Jeff. They could do like WrestleMania does, do signings, meet and greets, all that kind of stuff. And look, I'm sure they would love that. And I've said this on our show. Women's wrestling has come a long, long way, and there are cases where the women's matches are better than the men's matches. You couldn't say that 10, 15 years ago. But we are seeing the rise of women's wrestling everywhere because there is stacked talent from women in all of the companies right now. And so I agree. I think that there's room for it. And yeah, like Jeff said, give them their own weekend. Why not? And I think it's great. And I absolutely enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy it. I want to go on a massive rant about this show for different reasons, but instead I'll ask, does the overkill of PLEs kind of water down the excitement of this show for some people?
My response to that, I think I know where you're going. And this is why I said what I said about having its own weekend. I think that Evolution is suffering from being sandwiched in between so many different shows. Think about it. You got Saturday night's main event.
Yep.
You've got the Great American Bash.
Yep.
And then you've got Evolution.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And not to mention, you also have AEW, all in. So, I mean, there's just a lot. And in terms of the build of it, I wanted a little bit more. I feel like it's one of those, I don't want to say rush jobs, but I kind of feel like it is a rush job. Now they're kind of going into warp speed with it. But, I wish they would have done a little bit more with the build. But my response to all of that is we got to start somewhere. And the fact that we're getting another one at all is great because I never thought we would. Yeah. I know a lot of people who feel the same way. But I think we got to be – I think the best way – I think this is probably the best way I can say this. The best way for us to get a better build next year is to make the success of this one so unbelievably undeniable that they say, okay, the fans really want this. How do we maximize this? And how do we make this even – bigger than what it was? And I think that's how we get there. But I think we've got to see people really tune in and support it, tweet out stuff about it, post stuff about it. Yeah.
To your point, Jeff, why not do now? I know this is just speculating, but why not do? We obviously got the king and queen of the ring. Now I know that Saudi, they pay for that, but why not do have the stakes high at Evolution, right? Mm-hmm. In some way. So, you got the queen of the ring already. Have the queen of the ring declare who they are going to face, and then have a winner of a tournament or something along those lines at Evolution get to call their shot at maybe the other champion in the women's division. So raise the stakes a little bit to have them do, and again, I know they're having a title match on the show, but maybe make it a little something like a Royal Rumble for the women, where they have a shot. Whoever is the victor in whatever kind of match they have there. That gets people watching. And, so that I think would be a good thing to do. Just raise the stakes a little, give them something to fight for on a future pay-per-view where they have then a shot at the champion or something like that. So I think that.
Joe, so it's funny that you mentioned that. Because if you look at the card, Battle Royal. Winner gets a Women's World Championship match.
Well, there you go.
At Clash in Paris.
Okay. See, now I love that. I love that. I think that's smart. And that's how wrestling, that's how you get attention. You give them stakes. And that's what, make these pay-per-views even better. So yeah, look, I'm gonna feel the nostalgia in this show. I'd imagine we might get another intro from Stephanie at the beginning, since she was involved in this way back, and you're going to see the legends there. We've already seen some of them coming out and stuff to show. So I'm definitely going to be watching. I'm going to enjoy it for sure. And yeah, so I just hope it keeps going. I really want to see it become a thing.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's see. I hope to see Evolution 2, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT women, as well as some TNA knockouts, AAA luchadoras, Marigold wrestlers, even the Pro Wrestling Noah Women's GHC champion. Damien says, if you guys had to assess the overall build to this event as a whole, I would tend to agree with Jeff on this. It does kind of feel like it's being overshadowed a little bit because of everything that's going on around it. So it would be good to maybe not do that and have it at a different time of the year where maybe not a lot's going on to kind of give it some more. Yeah. So I kind of agree with Jeff in that way. They picked a city where across the street is a Beyonce concert and that whole weekend is MLB All-Star. Well,
that's a lot.
That is a lot. Yeah, that is a lot. Although the All-Star game isn't what it used to be. I'm a big baseball fan, and I very rarely ever watch the All-Star game anymore. It means nothing, and the players play like a couple innings now. It's not what it used to be. So we'll see. Hopefully, it'll do well going forward, and they'll keep doing them. So, all right, Jeff, what do we got up next, man?
All right, up next, Wyatt Six, man. They look dominant, man.
How about how Eric Rowan looked in this match the other night, man?
Yeah.
It was good to see the big guy showing out. Usually he's been kind of saved and we don't see too much of him, but he was in that match for quite a while. So, yeah, look, you know what, Jeff? They found a place for them. The tag team division on SmackDown is very good. And now you're starting to see, and we got what I thought was the first glimpse of Howdy wrestling for a good amount of time. And that's a good sign too, knowing the fact that he was injured for a while and stuff like that. And I know everybody's raving about his mask. I do think it looks a lot better. It looks very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think they found their niche. I still think we're going to get a women's match with Nikki as well, because she's been teasing that. But yeah, look, I know that the naysayers are out there. Oh, that, this isn't what we wanted. We don't want them involved in the stupid tag team stuff. We want them. Look, I think it's great. They're on a show where they can be featured now that it's only 2 hours, and they're getting TV time, because they're in the tag team division. So I think it's phenomenal. They've got a lot of phenomenal tag team wrestlers in that group. Rowan himself was on one of the best tag teams we've ever seen. So yeah, I like it, Jeff. And you're still hearing, when you listen real close, you're still hearing Uncle Howdy with the yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff, you know what? I still get chills. When they play that entrance and the music and the lights all light up on the cell phones. Bray's been gone for over a year and a half, and I still get chills watching it. So I'm always going to be a fan, no matter what they do. But look, so many people were saying, when are they going to get a shot at gold? Well, I think this is their shot at gold. And I do see that in the future for them, Jeff. I don't know when they're going to pull the trigger. Maybe it's going to be SummerSlam. But I can see tag team gold on these guys in the future.
Yeah, and I'm going to have a lot to say about some of those fans in a little bit. But so I'll save my disrespect until then. But
Jeff's grievance tease.
Yeah, but it's like we don't get to write. We don't get to do creative. And for the folks who are like, yeah, they're my favorites and they got to have a title today. Sorry, not everybody needs a title, and it doesn't work that way. So, chill, pump your brakes, let them handle this the way that they want to handle it. It seems like they have a good plan in place. I'm enjoying it. I know many others are enjoying it, and as fans, man, we just have to do it all, right?
Yep. Yeah. So sometimes it's just a little patience, man. Like Axl Rose used to sing, just a little patience. Sometimes we just have to do that, right? We just have to give it a little bit of time to simmer and things like that. And I think they're doing the right thing. That what they're doing. And Nikki's going to get something. Maybe she will do something at Evolution, Alexa Bliss Gamer. That's very possible. Maybe we will see that happen there. Would make a lot of sense. But yeah, I'm liking the way they're going. I'm fine with them winning gold. I know a lot of people are saying, that we may not want them to have titles because then it blows the mysticism up. And I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. They're not. Look, they're not. They're tributizing Bray. That said, they're not doing the Funhouse. They're not doing the stuff that Bray did. And that's okay. That's okay. They don't need to copy him, line for line, word for word. They've got to do their own thing. And I think what they're doing is cool. They're still doing the cryptic things. They're still doing all that. And so, but yeah, I'm perfectly fine with it. I think it's great. I think it was a great way for them to go. And the athletes on the team are like I said, are very good. Some of the moves we see coming from them, my gosh, Loomis is guy's getting more jacked every time you see him. And Rowan, like I said, Rowan really impressed me because he's no young spring chicken out there anymore. And to do what he was doing, and he certainly didn't want the smoke from Rowan Gargano. No, he did not. He wanted none of that. But yeah, I like it, man. I think it's perfectly fine. And it's exactly what I think Bo and them wanted it to be. So.
Yep.
Good stuff. All right. We're moving on.
Speaking of SummerSlam.
Oh man. Well, we knew it was coming, right? We knew. We didn't kind of know. I didn't predict it. I was thinking it was going to be Punk. I really thought it was going to be Punk and Cena at SummerSlam. But what goes around comes around. But this is super interesting to me because I read a story about Cody Rhodes. Yeah, I read a story about Cody, and Cody was interviewed and came out and said they were asking him about his babyface run. And Cody came out and said, I could see that coming to an end. And that was what he said. And that was all he kind of said. There was no, and then they tried to pry him a little bit further. And they're like, well, what is it? Are you, do you say? And he said, he said, going back to before WrestleMania, when the fans kind of turned on him a little bit. And he said, it's going to be, and then they were asking him, when is it going to, and he said, I'm going to let the fans decide when it's going to happen. So now, Jeff, I'm starting to think, and this would make so much sense. It's insane. Do these two switch roles? Does Cody realize that the only way that he's going to take that title off of Cena is to turn into what he hated the most, which was the lesson from WrestleMania that they could lead back to? Cody couldn't do what he had to do. Now, does he turn around and then does he basically do something that face would not do to get his title back? in the process, does he then change Cena back to being cheered and take the boos on himself so that John Cena can then go out the way he wants to go out, I'm sure, and that's to be cheered by the fans. I think that is so interesting to me. And the simplest little thing. And again, it goes back, Jeff, to having patience. When we saw the WrestleMania thing, and I know I could be accused of it very easily. I hated the ending of that. I thought it was terrible. I'm like, why wasn't The Rock involved? Why did I thought the ending was terrible, and it kind of made me bored with wrestling for a while. But maybe this was all in the plans, and maybe that's exactly what they were doing the entire time. And maybe this is a way to get Cody changed over, and to have Cena be able to walk out as the guy who's getting cheered. So I don't know. I don't know if that's how it's going to go, but having the fact that he kind of alluded to it, maybe that's what's going to happen. And I don't know, Jeff. I mean, I saw Cody as a heel before, and I kind of liked it. So I would be down with that. I think he would do really well. And so I don't know. If that's what happens, I'm cool with it.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about this feud is that it's basically a mirror. It's John Cena looking back on his career.
Yep.
And Cody Rhodes looking ahead to what happens if I remain the good guy.
Yep.
It's an interesting little tale, I think, and seeing those roles reverse at SummerSlam will be really cool.
Yeah.
I want to see Cena hit the realization that, oh crap, I just screwed away most of my farewell tour.
Yep.
In pursuit of a title, in pursuit of a record. But then I think the flip side of that is Cody's like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that has some type of gimmick, like shorts and a shirt and a hat and colorful stuff. I don't want to do all of that stuff. I want to be me. And clearly this whole cookie cutter, well, not really cookie cutter, but, this list of expectations that I have to meet as a champion and not being able to kind of do things my way. Yeah, I think it's a cool storyline, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope that what you said comes true, because that would be fascinating.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be really, really cool. Derek's saying, I smell double turn. Kay Adams is the one who interviewed. Okay, thank you, Sean. Yeah, I wasn't sure who that was. Cody sacrificed everyone who helped him to get a title. Seth first time, and this time he had to beat Jay and Randy. And again, even in the Randy match, you saw some little hints of him doing the things he had to do to win. Randy even brought it up, saying that Randy couldn't do the punt kick, but he did what he had to do. And that's coming from his mentor. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I really think it would make sense. Because, Jeff, I don't know if the fans are going to change their attitude. And if he wins again without any kind of a change, he may very well get booed by a good amount of people again. Because I think they're going to, and that's how he said he's going to let the fans decide. I think they're going to demand it. And I think they're going to like him as a heel. I do. So Cody sacrificed everyone who helped him to get a title. Seth for the first. Yeah, I know. I agree. About to be a big pivot in things. Double turn. The fans, because Cena is back and Cody gets angry. Yeah, I'm in. I think that would be a great way to do it. Dave LaGreca loses his mind over heel Cody. Yeah, he doesn't want it to happen, but he might be about the only one at this point, because I heard Mark Henry, Bully Ray, all of them were saying that they think that Cody's a really good heel. So adamantly objected to becoming a heel in AEW now, seemingly, well, times change. Times change, bonus baby, you know. And like he said, you know, when the fans were starting to boo him, that was probably the end of that character. It really probably was. So fans do dictate pro wrestling. That's how it should be. Double turn makes sense for Cody and Cena. Cody could always come back as Stardust. Could you imagine? Oh man! If anything, he could use that toward his heel turn too, because that'd be a great thing to go back to. You know, But in any case, it's going to be very interesting to see how they're gonna go with it, and we don't have long to wait. SummerSlam is around the corner.
Around the corner. Yeah. Speaking of around the corner, Trip.
Man.
This match is around the corner.
Oh, man. This, I'll tell you, when I first heard this, and when we kind of all knew it, right? We've known this for well over a year, that this was going to happen. It just made sense. And this is the reason why Gunther won his title back. I know there are a lot of people pissed that Jay lost, but this is why he won. But I'm going to tell you this, and I know people might think I'm insane, right? But I think that just leads you to think even more that Goldberg is winning that title. And I think some people might think I'm crazy, but I think he might win it. He might carry it one more time just for a little bit. Could even be just the SummerSlam. And then he might lose it again. Or, like Jeff had mentioned, does Seth Rollins cash in? Does he win the title after a pretty grueling match with Gunther? Because that's right. I mean, now Goldberg can't really go very long. We've seen that in past matches. But does Seth come in and take advantage? And does Goldberg hold up the title for like 2 minutes and then Seth comes down and just rips it right off him? Either way, I think there's going to be some surprises in this that people may not see coming, but I think that that's the whole reason why Jey Uso lost, because of all this. And we'll get into it. We have more stuff to talk about with Goldberg a little bit later. But yeah, Jeff, I mean, your thoughts, because I think there's more to this than meets the eye.
Whatever the most chaotic thing is that can happen as a result of this match, that's what I'm rooting for. So if that's Goldberg winning, and then as soon as his hand is raised, you hear Seth Rollins music and you see Paul Heyman coming down, I would love that.
Yeah.
It could also be very chaotic with Goldberg winning it. What do you do? I mean, this is supposed to be his last match. So it's like, what happens now to the title? So I don't know, but I think Seth cashing in on either one is probably the way this ends. That will be my prediction.
Yep. Makes sense. We'll be stunned if Goldberg defeats Gunther, and I'll be even more stunned if he goes longer than 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, the last few times we saw him, he doesn't last very long in the ring. So yeah, that Gunther is a great person to carry him, though, being honest. Gunther is, as opposed to a Jey Uso, where Jey is, very quick, has got a quick pacing to him. Gunther can go. Look, I mean, Gunther made Pat McAfee look amazing. He really did. And Pat, look, Pat, I'm sure Pat trained and Pat is an athlete, but, I mean, that match was really good. Really good. And I did not expect that to happen. So I think putting him in there with probably one of the best in the business as far as wrestling goes is smart, because Goldberg can certainly carry him. I'm sorry, Gunther. Gunther can certainly carry him. And regardless of how slow the match might be paced, which is probably going to be pretty slow. But yeah, I think it was smart to do that. I love Jey Uso, and I'm sure he'll have a title back before too long, because the fans love him too. But I just think it was probably the better choice to put him in there with Gunther. Seth cashes in mid-match, pins Gunther. That way Goldberg's ego stays intact, and he could say that he didn't lose his last match. Goldberg gets speared by Breakker and cashes in. Goldberg wins. Braun Breakker spears Goldberg. Seth catches in. Yeah, that would make sense that he would get speared, wouldn't it? Yeah, that'd make a lot of sense. That would make a lot of sense. But in any case, there will be a lot to talk about. And this Saturday night's main event card is shaping up to be a really, really good one. Really good one. Early sell or no sell. Oh, nice, Andrew. Thank you. Seth cashing in on Gunther or Goldberg for the number 2 title would be a fail for Seth. If we want all eyes on him, he'd cash in on Cena or Cody. That would depend on what's going on with Cody, I think, Andrew. Because if Cody does switch, and if Cody goes heel, then it wouldn't make as much sense anymore. So, then I don't think it would make as much sense. So, in this case, this is supposed to be a big feel-good moment, right? For the fans and stuff to see Goldberg win one last time. And if Seth ruins it, that just adds to his own, the reputation that he's got. So, but all I know is poor Gunther caught a shower in that promo with Goldberg. He might have. Yeah, he might have. So, but it'll be interesting to see. It'll be talked about for sure. And look, we all know what's going on that weekend. There's a lot of wrestling happening on that weekend. So who wants the headline? And if something happens, that's a big-time thing on Saturday night's main event, it's going to get people talking into Sunday. And WWE might want it that way. So we'll see. We shall see. All right, Jeff, what's up next, man?
Let's talk about TNA.
Yeah.
This was quite a way to end the show on Thursday.
It was a great promo, man. I gotta hand it. Frankie just knows how to play all the angles, man. I mean, he lets Hendry have it, lets Santana have it. Trick, you don't even know what's going on with, because Frankie couldn't stand. Like just not a couple months ago, Frankie hated him too. So what's the play here? Now we know what he's got, right? We know what Frankie's got. He could cash in on this whole thing at any time and be the ultimate winner here. So he's playing all the cards, but this whole thing, like Jeff said, with all of them doing the talking at one point in time, it was brilliant. It made for a great show. And I only saw the second half of it. But it really has a lot of people, I think, wondering here. Because a lot of people would have said, well, Trick can't possibly keep it because they've got to give it back to somebody in TNA. My thoughts are, at this point, you're already into July. If Joe Hendry is going to be leaving in December, what would be the point of giving it back to him? And then Santana is kind of a wild card. He just kind of steps in, got himself put into the match. So it kind of maybe would make sense that Santana would be winning here. But now, honestly, Jeff, I have no idea. I have no idea where they're going to go with this. And that makes it fun. I mean, hell, Jeff, Frankie could end up walking out of there with the title.
He very well could. Yeah. We're gonna talk about Mike Santana later in the show, but yeah, I think if Trick's not going to be the one to have it until Bound for Glory, go ahead and do what you got to do with Mike Santana, because he's earned it.
Yeah,
he is absolutely deserving, and he has earned to be able to call himself TNA World Champ.
Yeah,
because he's great. He's great on the mic. Has the fans behind him, and he's not corny. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not some corny dude that's walking around, just fake. I mean, he's as real as it gets. So Um, I like that. I think the fans like it. So yeah, I'm.
Yeah.
I think if Joe Hendry's leaving, there's no use in making him a champ just to take it again at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I would agree. It doesn't make any sense. If he's going to be gone in December, it really doesn't make sense to put it back on him. I would have thought his reign would have lasted longer, but they've obviously got different plans. And if that's the case, and like Jeff said, if they want the future to be now, and they want to establish someone as the next guy, then Santana would make a lot of sense. And the fact that he got put in there by the director of Authority, that might be saying something. So Jason thinks that Trick will keep it until Bound for Glory. Then he'll get called to the main roster. Either way, Joe or Mike is taking the pinfall. WWE isn't having their guy pinned, hence why it became a three-way, and Frankie did the tease. He's going to have to be taking a pin at some point, Clown. He's not going to keep that title forever. So, like Jeff said, if it doesn't happen here, it's Bound for Glory that he's going to lose. I have Santana winning the TNA title mostly because the show is in his hometown, and also because of how he has been elevated as of late, ever since getting the rub from Josh a few months ago. Yeah, people may have forgotten about that. The thing with Josh. Yep, and I could see it. He has earned it. Look, he went through that whole storyline thing with Mustafa Ali, which was very questionable at times, for sure. And going through that type of punishing storyline. And
I just had a really bad thought.
Oh,
let's say Mike Santana does win. What's the worst thing that could possibly happen if he won that title? What happened to Josh Alexander at Bound for Glory at the hands of Moose?
Yeah, yep.
Santana's all happy and triumphant, pumping his fist. Then all of a sudden we hear Frankie Kazarian's music. That would be so jacked up. Oh my god.
Yeah, it would.
Ugh.
Yes, it would. Yeah. In a three-way, he can lose without being pinned. Yeah, true. But yeah, look, TNA's been gaining a lot of momentum lately. A lot of good people that have come back to help them out, especially in the women's side of it, the Knockouts division, which is exciting. They need that. They need that Knockouts division to be good. And the fact that now you got Killer Kelly back, give the inspiration back, it's looking good. It's looking good. So yeah, I think Slammiversary is going to be really, really good. And you know what? We will be there for it. So make sure you come out and join us for the watch along, because that's always a really, really fun show. Yeah. Calling a double turn at SummerSlam. I'm calling a double title switch at Slammiversary. Mike or Joe bring the TNA World title back, and Masha brings the NXT Women's title to TNA.
Yeah, I could see that happening, honestly.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that would be cool. I would like to see that. Something going the way of TNA rather than just having the NXT have this stuff. Yeah, let's go. I think that'd be great. Well, all right.
Speaking of a champion, this is a champion that not enough people talk about. And that's Athena. Over 900 days as the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. And doggone it, I felt like we got to talk about her, because I feel like, and I'm not trying to be critical, but I feel like because of the fact that maybe not a lot of people watch as much Ring of Honor as they should, or maybe they just can't for whatever reason. Her talent, the way she's done this, and the people that she's beaten, I feel like gets overlooked. So, I mean, she's she's tremendous. And when you talk about, list of top women's wrestlers in the world, I think you have to put her name in the hat for that.
Yeah, I agree. I have always thought she was a tremendous talent. Even from her time in NXT and stuff like that, I always thought she was very good, and that she could be the next one, right? It didn't work out, but she found her niche. She found another place to go, and she's thriving. 900 days is insane. That's a lot when you think about it. In today's wrestling, that's a lot. So
she's on that Roman Reigns trajectory right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's not something you see very often. And look, say what you will about it. Yes, it doesn't get a lot of viewers, unfortunately. But there are people who love Ring of Honor, love what it stands for. It's got a very rich past, and that belt means a lot. Regardless of whether you think it does or not, there's a lot of history in that title, and she's representing that title, and yeah, look, I think the world of her, and that is nothing to sneeze at. That's a long time in wrestling now. You don't see it happen much anymore. That Roman Reigns stuff is a once in a lifetime thing, and so. Great athlete, a great person, and definitely deserving of it. And and like Jeff said, it's just something that not many people watch, unfortunately. But yeah, she is absolutely killing it, like Damien just said.
Joe, go ahead and read that, and then I wanted to read a couple stats about her title reign, but go ahead and read that.
Say what you want about her character, but Athena is killing it. Follow-up question, though. As impressive as she is as ROH champ, but could you see her as AEW women's champ before the end of 2025? That's going to depend on, ultimately it's going to depend on Tony Khan. And what he sees in her as far as his talent. The better question might be, should she be? And I would say yes. But that's going to depend on Tony. And whether you want her to kind of take that next step, so to speak, and be the spokesperson for the women's division in AEW. And I say, why the hell not? But that's going to be up to him. But good question. Jeff, what do you think?
I think right now it's all about Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's no disrespect because, my gosh, they are absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
But, I think at some point you have to. Just because, look at what she's done. Just to go over some of this. So she beat Mercedes Martinez at Final Battle in December 2022.
Wow.
Her reign is the longest in Ring of Honor history, surpassing all previous title reigns in the promotion, including those for Ring of Honor World Championship. Let's see here. She's beaten Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue, Hikaru Shida, Red Velvet, Nyla Rose, Abaddon, Billy Starks. The list goes on. And she's going to face Billy Starks again coming up. So, that's tremendous.
Yep. Does Athena lose the title to Thunder Rosa? I would not have ROH behind a paywall. Collision, ROH, Collision. ROH should not be behind a paywall no one can access. I would agree.
I don't disagree with that. I think I don't know that she loses it anytime soon. I don't know. I think if she does, then it's a telltale sign that she is headed to main roster, so to speak. But I don't know if she loses it right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Athena will be going to the main roster of AEW. Yeah, it could very well be. We'll see. We shall see. But in any case, congrats.
Yeah.
Tremendous, absolutely a tremendous run that she is having, and I'm really happy for her. So good stuff, man. What is next?
All
I think
right.
we have one more topic.
One more, and this is another congratulations to Dave LaGreca and the crew.
Yes, sir. Yep. I heard about this on my way home. I listen to the podcast often. And the podcast version is usually a lot shorter. It's like 15, 20 minutes. But I heard LaGreca kind of do one of his rants and stuff like that. But yeah, look, I love this. I had heard Not Sam on his podcast saying he is now going to be on there doing his Not Sam Wrestling podcast. So it looks as if they're going to get a lot of other partners, new partners. And Dave did say that they're going to have other people on the show. That are going to be doing their own thing because it is going to be 24/7. Wrestling Talk 24/7, I think, is amazing. I would have loved to have that when I was a young man, when I was watching it in my teens. Could you imagine, Jeff, if there was a 24/7 wrestling network when the NWO and all that business was going on? Oh, my God. I would have never shut it off.
Man. I would have struggled more with grades than I did. So
Yep. I would never have turned it off. I think it's great. And again, Jeff and I are older now, and we just don't have the time to listen to stuff as much as we did. But I can tell you, I'll be tuning in the car, and if I'm ever doing a long car ride anywhere and stuff like that, it's great to know that. Hey, there's nothing going on. I don't have any other podcasts to listen to. I'll throw 24/7 wrestling on. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
And and man, I'll tell you, Sirius XM has never been cheaper. You can get Sirius right now for I think they're giving like 4 months away or 5 months away for free, and then after that it's like $5 a month for the rest of the year.
Oh,
so there's some great bargains out there for Sirius right now. Oh, and to get the deals on it, you have to go use the app. But who cares? I have a Bluetooth thing in my car that I play my phone through, so yeah. I don't care. I'll use the app. I'll just play it from the app.
Seriously.
Yeah. And if you don't have it,
we're on our phone most of the time anyway. So.
Yeah. I mean, you're listening to your phone anyway. That's how I listen to podcasts in the car is through the phone. Why not? And look at all those. You know what else I like about it, Jeff, is all those people, and the ones that are pictured on the screen, of course. Bully, Tommy, Mark Henry, but all the others who may be aspiring to have that type of career. Like Nick Nemeth. Nick Nemeth is on the show a lot. He loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mickey James or like a Natalia who's been on Busted Open a lot. It also gives them the opportunity to further their career and go into this and still have something they can do and stuff like that. So I think that's great too. I love it for wrestling fans. I think it's a spectacular thing. And again, like Jeff said, congrats, because like LaGreca or hate him, and he does make you want to hate him a lot. But that's a character he plays. Like him or hate him, he started this whole thing with another gentleman. I forget his name, way back in the day. He mentioned him and thanked him and stuff like that. But and he kept it going and kept it going and kept it going. And they kept talking about it, kept becoming more and more popular, more and more hosts on the show, more and more ex-wrestlers on the show, and all that. And to get this, it's big. It's a very, very big thing for wrestling. So, I think it's fantastic. So, Sirius XM's 80s. Oh yeah, I know. I listen to that all the time. Yep, the 80s music channel. I have all my pre-programmed. I have 80s music. I have the hair metal one. I have yacht rock in the summertime. I have like a smooth jazz channel I listen to when I want to mellow out and chill out a little bit. But yeah, the music's phenomenal. The only thing about the music is if you listen to it a long time, it's on a playlist, so you're going to hear a lot of similar songs because they kind of repeat play a lot. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Awesome.
All right, cool. I think we're coming. I think we're done with the news, and Jeff.
We are.
All right, well, guys, you know what that means. That means it's time to listen to our friend Jerry Stiller, because it's time for the airing of grievances.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
All right, and in this particular version, because we are, we knew it was going to be a longer show, I have nothing. I've got nothing.
Okay.
So Jeff is going to do his, and we're going to go from there. So Jeff, the floor is yours.
All right. I'm not gonna go on a long rant, but I am gonna say what I need to say and just get it off my chest. I've been a wrestling fan for a long time, and as a fan of wrestling, you got to take the good with the bad. There are some great fans who are very supportive, and then there are fans who just have to have it their way all the time, with no regard for anyone else. Or they think, hey, I could write this better because, I've watched a little bit of wrestling, so I know what I'm doing. I know the business. And I'd love to say that that's just a wrestling thing, but it's not. Over the last, I don't know, month or so, I've been noticing things on social media and a lot of people talking about the GOAT conversation in the NBA. And I don't I don't understand how people can say that LeBron James is a bum because he's not Michael Jordan, because he has a losing record in the NBA Finals. All these different things. Listen, if people want to have LeBron as their GOAT, that's fine. If they want to have Mike, that's fine. Kobe, that's fine. But then, when you dig a little bit deeper into the comments and everything, you get these folks that say, well, yeah, he can't hit his free throws in the last seconds of a game. Or, yeah, but what about his flopping and all that stuff? Okay, cool, great points. Then if you go back over to wrestling, you see people say, this person can't wrestle. They're a terrible wrestler. They're awful. Last week I got real close, and I wanted to save it for here because the next time that I see it, I'm going to say it. But I wanted to say it here first. We can all like and dislike things, and that's cool. But when we get to the point of calling people terrible and saying they suck at what they do and they deserve to get booed and they deserve this and they deserve that, I really just want to ask the question. Can we see a link of your wrestling matches in front of thousands of people? Can we see any links or video evidence or photos or anything of you training to be a wrestler? Oh, you don't have any? Then shut your stupid mouth, because you can't do what these people do. It's just like the guy that got cut from his middle school basketball team talking about LeBron doesn't understand the game of basketball. You're not qualified to go that far into an analysis. You're not qualified. Be a fan, enjoy it. If you don't like it, cool. Just don't like it. But don't be a complete jackass and talk about people sucking and whatever else because they messed up, because they were human. I said this on Tuesday, but thank God we don't have cameras following us around every day. Because if anyone else is like me, you make mistakes all the time. You trip over your own feet. You do stupid stuff. It happens. So for hopefully the last time, because I don't want to say any of this again, if you feel the need to constantly criticize or constantly say that someone sucks or they botched something or whatever it is, as soon as you're done making that comment, I really hope that you're ready with the link to show us your skills. Because, yeah, I don't think you're qualified to talk about Jade Cargill when you wouldn't say that comment in her face. Let's be honest, she'd kick your ass. So, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, it all goes back to just like I don't know, like I just don't understand what gives people the right. And look, I get it. We live in a generation of where anybody and whoever they're associated with can go out and make a YouTube page and spout off about anything they want. But I don't know. I guess it's about respect. And look, I am. Jeff was talking about NBA players. I was never a fan of LeBron. In fact, I couldn't stand him because he always beat my team. But that's you look. You've got to respect the guy because he's just great. I mean, you could say anything you want as a fan about him, but you can't say he sucks. You can't say he's bad. He's got a resume to prove otherwise. And the stuff with the wrestling, I just can't. I can't take the stuff of the, talking about when someone makes a mistake and all that stuff. Because Jeff's right. If you think for a second that any of this stuff is easy, and Jeff has mentioned this many, many times before, get in a ring. Go get in a ring. Go take a few bumps for an hour or so, and let's hear your opinion after that. And yep. I've heard that from my friend Shane, and I've heard it from Jeff. So I know people that have mentioned it. And not only have I watched some videos behind the scenes of what wrestlers do. So, don't think you're automatically qualified because you're some schmuck with an opinion to say that someone sucks because they make a mistake. You're probably the same jackasses that say actors screw up in a movie and make a mistake, or you notice a stunt is done wrong, or something like that. Just keep your mouth shut, or you go and you prove that you can do it better. I mean, that's stuff you learn from your mom when you're like 10. Just don't be an idiot. And most of all, Jeff, and I've said this before in this show, just because you think maybe you're a social media guru and you've got this amazing YouTube channel, that doesn't give you the right to say shit. I don't care what you have. You're no expert. You're not working for the WWE or big companies. I don't care how many views, how many people you have. I don't care. That doesn't give you again, I will say, go step in a ring. But you won't, because ultimately you'd get your ass kicked. So yeah, I agree. Well said. Well said, Jeff. Social media made you all way too comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it, says Mike Tyson. Yeah, he's right. He's right.
Yep.
He's absolutely right. So there you go. Deanna says it's not how you fail, it's how you get up. I agree, people. I love the crazy deathmatch wrestling I watch. I have a list. It's going to be different, but I'll never hate on others. Yeah,
Right.
look, yeah, it's that simple. You just have to respect people, respect them for what they are. You can be a fan. You could be a fan.
And the other thing that I want to make sure that I clear up so no one says that I said this, I'm not saying don't have an opinion. Have an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. But if your opinion is that something sucks, why watch it? Why waste your time on it?
Mm-hmm.
That's just my only thing. I mean, there are a ton of other things that you could do. Legal. I want to emphasize legal things that you can do with your free time.
Yep.
You don't have to watch wrestling. You don't have to watch a Jade Cargill match. You could like, well, no, you probably could text a girl. Never mind. But I mean, there are so many other things that you could do. Why waste your time on something that obviously bothers you? That's my only. I'm just trying to help me help you is what I'm trying to say. Help me help you.
Because
you don't
sadly,
like it, don't watch it.
Sadly, Jeff, what I think it's ultimately about is it's about the attention.
Of course, yes.
They crave the attention, and they want to get it any way they can. So they're going to make a post like that, and then they know they're going to get attention, both positive and negative. And it doesn't matter because it fills their little, whatever that is in their brain that they think they have to get online attention to make themselves feel like they're alive. But yeah.
And the other thing that they've learned is if you do something dumb enough or say something stupid enough, sometimes you might go viral off of that.
Mm-hmm. So
on the off chance I can be a jackass and go viral, hey, why not?
Yep.
Because that's what a lot of people are interested in now is, being internet famous and not being a decent person.
Yep. You are correct. Derek says, hey, I can text the girl. Wait. Yes, Derek. Good move. All right. Well, there you go. That is our airing of grievances for this week. So thank you to Jeff for doing that. And we are going to move on ahead, and we are going to go to the audience participation part of the show.
That's right.
Do a little sell or no sell, guys. So get prepared because we're going to need one from you. I think we got one early. But we're gonna
we got one early.
Yep.
And I have an online wheel now, so we can pull up the wheel and spin it. You can see it.
Wow, you can see the spinning wheel now. Look at that.
That's right.
Look at that. We're moving up.
Moving up in the world.
All right, man. What do you got here as topic number one? Play along. You guys let us know what your answer is, whether you're selling it or no selling it. And then when we get to number two, start thinking up your own and then give us those ideas for the third one.
John Cena's 2025 Pipe Bomb was his best promo ever. Joe, sell or no sell?
Oh, man.
I know this is a tough one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Good night, Terrence. Oh, boy. I mean, you got to go back to like the thugonomic stuff with him, and you got. But I mean, a lot of times we're remembered for things we're doing currently, and this run has been a little bit different for John Cena. And some people had said it was on the stale side prior to this, but what he did was he took a promo that his opponent was famous for, maybe most in his career, and he turned it around on him. It's not an easy thing to do. The fans loved it for sure. But to say it's his best ever, I can't go that far. It was very good and very, very well done, and it's probably in his top 5, maybe even top 3. But I have to no sell it because we got to remember how long John's career has been and the things he's done over the years. And I got to say, with his body of work, no, I got to no sell it. It was great, but I'm not gonna. I can't go that far and say it was his best.
No sell from Joe. I'm gonna say the same. No sell from me. And honestly, like Dion said, it's probably in my top 5.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of the things, him and Punk back in the day, him and Bray Wyatt, him and Roman Reigns, him and The Rock. I mean, there's just so many different moments that I can point to. And I mean, it's in my top 5, probably, maybe top 10. But yeah, he's got some better ones out there.
Yeah. People I think forget about the Bray Wyatt stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he had the Funhouse match, but the stuff leading up to that was happening during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people might forget about that. Didn't he call him? I think he called him a freak. No, Roman called him a freak in a mask.
Yeah.
But yeah, the stuff that
the
Cena
most overprotected wrestler or something. I forget the exact words, but I'm talking about even like the years before that.
Yeah.
Where the time where you had the little kid singing, he's got the whole world in his hands.
Oh my God, yeah, dude.
All slowed down and all chopped and screwed like they do down in Houston.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, it was wild, but
yeah.
He's got some better ones out there.
Let's see what people are saying. I think most people are agreeing here with us. Brandon Davey did say sell. Alexis Gamer says no sell. Derek says no sell. Sean says no sell. Brandon has one for us there, Jeff. I don't know if you caught it.
Yeah, the Britt Baker one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I need 6 more.
Okay. No sell for Dylan. No sell for Damian. No sell for Andrew. Most meaningful promo of his heel turn so far. Yeah, I would agree with you there. Deanna says no sell, but in my top 5. Was amazing, but no sell, says Bonus Baby. Clown says no sell. If The Rock stuck around, maybe Travis was a flat tire. Could have been better. My number 2, Brandon has another one there. Retro one, the Click would have been the NWO if in the WWE if Nash, Hall, and Waltman hadn't left.
Okay.
So that's one for the end. No sell, says Wes. Hello, Wes, by the way. And Derek said he has one too. Does Cody turning heel cause business to spike or plummet?
I'm going to say it causes business to spike, and we can...
Okay, I mean, we can, debate it. Yep. And then Damien has one, too. The current story with Alexa and Charlotte will culminate in a match at WrestleMania 42. Interesting. Okay. All right, well, let's roll on to topic number 2. Thank you for the early participation for the questions. And Jeff will keep you updated on how many more we need.
Yeah. This one, Mike Santana has earned the right to become the TNA World Champion at Slammiversary. Sell or no sell?
I will sell this, yes. Because, I mean, look, he's had some, we talked about the Mustafa Ali thing. I think anyone that went through that has probably earned a spot somewhere. But he's also had some amazing matches. And somebody pointed out in chat earlier the Josh Alexander match. That I know, it's easy to forget when people leave a company. But that was a banger. That was a great match. And so, yeah, I think he's earned it. And yeah, I'm selling it. I think it's a pretty solid sell for me.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna sell it.
All right.
I need 3 more. If not, we can roll with what we have. But
okay.
If we want to get 3 more,
if anybody has 3, another 3 questions, we could fill it all in. Well, Andrew has one. Did you see Andrew's?
Yeah, that was the
All in Texas will be the biggest success story.
Not.
Okay. All In Texas will be the biggest success story between it and Evolution next weekend. And everybody seems to be selling this. Easy sell, yeah. Wes says sell, Deanna says sell. I'm selling it cause. Brandon says yeah. So it's a sell.
2 more.
There. So we need 2 more, guys. 2 more. Alexa Bliss Gamer says Evolution will be a yearly event. Sell or no sell.
Okay, 1 more.
We need 1 more, guys. Who's going to be the last one? Who's going to be the last? Come on. Got to have 1 more. We got to fill up the spinner. We need 1 more.
And you don't want me to come up with it. My brain is fried. I'd probably ask you something like.
My other one is.
Okay.
Naomi will fail in her Money in the Bank attempt. There you go. Wes's is a good one, too. We'll have to save it for next week's.
I'll put it in now. I can put it in now.
Okay. All right.
I can add another one.
Sell or no sell, Karrion Kross becoming more on-screen talent and maybe a champion. Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. So I have our handy dandy wheel.
All right. We're going to spin the digital wheel this time. There. Look at that.
We ready?
Look at that. Here we go.
All right. Here it is. And all right, Steph. So this is one that we got earlier. Seth cashing in on Gunther or Goldberg for the number 2 title would be a fail for Seth. Seth, if he wants all eyes on him, he'd cash in on Cena or Cody.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. Let us know what you think. I'm gonna no sell this. I don't think that's true. Because you got to remember that title was the one that Seth held on to for what was it? It had to be over a year, and it may have been longer than that. So he kind of put his stamp on that title. That's the title that he kind of said was his.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's the case at all. I think that's just him getting back what he feels is rightfully his property. So I don't think that's the case at all. And remember, he had that when they were having the separate titles. They had the one on Raw, the one on SmackDown, and stuff like that. So I don't think so. I'm no selling that. I don't think so. I think if he wins it, I think it'd be perfectly fine. I think it would also keep it in house on Raw, because Seth's not going anywhere. They even if they do have a draft, they're not. I really don't think they're going to send Seth to SmackDown, especially with SmackDown going back to a 2-hour show. So I don't think that's going to be the case. Plus, I honestly don't think Netflix would like it. Being completely realistic about it. So no, I'm no selling that. I'm no selling that. Jeff?
1 second. Yeah, I got a no sell because I'll just play this for both those. I no sell it because I think that it's all about who has the title that makes it. And you could argue in Roman's absence, the World Heavyweight title was the most popular because Seth was there to defend it.
Yeah.
I feel like, the Undisputed title, while it's considered the number 1 title, it's the one that's more of a spectacle, kind of a big event kind of deal, whereas your World Heavyweight title, you're more apt to see that defended on a regular basis. So I think that's what people want to see nowadays. They want to see titles defended on shows and not just every blue moon on a PLE. So yeah, I'm gonna no sell this.
Yep. Sean Rousset is saying no sell. Wes says no sell. Lex Bliss Gamer says no sell. Deanna also. Damien as well. Bonus Baby says no sell. Seth had made clear he wants the world title. Derek is selling it. Would make sense for them to be teasing Cody and Seth run-ins if he doesn't cash in. Dylan says no sell. David says have Seth cash in after Cody versus Cena at Saturday night's main event in December. That's a while to wait, and right before you're going into Rumble season. So interesting. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all of the questions thrown in there.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And yeah, great. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And we are moving on to our next topic, which, of course, Jeff, it's quite hot outside.
It is.
It's quite humid.
It really is.
It is very very hot and stuffy in this part of the Northeast. So it's appropriate that it's time for the burning question of the week.
That's right. Here we go.
There it is.
All right. So what are your honest thoughts on Goldberg? I know that folks aren't big fans now, but what are your thoughts on him as a wrestler and his career? I actually really like this question.
This is going to be a fun one for me, Jeff, because I'll tell you what, man, even his big run that they put him on when he was in WCW, I could not stand him. I couldn't stand him. I hated him. And I don't know really what it was, but from day one, I just didn't like the dude. And the fact that they made him so invincible, and I saw it coming a mile away. And that night when I heard Hogan was defending, and it was probably also because I just loved the iteration of the NWO. I loved the Hogan when he was bad, and I love Hall and Nash. That initial iteration was just so much fun. And I was, but when he came out and they announced that he was taking on Hogan, I'm like, dear God, if this man wins during this bit. And when I saw that he beat Hogan, I was furious. So but I'm not gonna sit here and say, now I didn't like him as a character, but I'm not gonna say that I didn't respect him. They really, the one thing I liked about his run, Jeff, back then was that really went under the radar. He just kept on winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. And it was almost like no one noticed until all of a sudden now I will say that was probably the start of the biggest downfall of WCW as well, because that should have been on a pay-per-view. There is no doubt that should have been on a pay-per-view. The fact that they put that on free TV was probably one of the biggest stupid mistakes they could have ever made. But I get his appeal. I do, because he appealed to kids as a superhero. And at that point in time, because Sting failed, because Sting was the guy, right? Sting was the guy that was supposed to be the one that was going to take down Hogan. It didn't happen. Yeah. So because of that, everybody needed someone to look up to. And because of that fact, Goldberg did what he did. They made mistakes with it, and I think they pulled the trigger too quickly. Now, is he a great wrestler? I'm not going to say that. He's very, in a way, it's funny because he's very similar to Hogan. Hogan wasn't definitely not going to go down in history as a great wrestler. Hogan had a couple of moves. He had a leg drop, and he had a clothesline and a couple other things. Goldberg, basically the same. So he's kind of a throwback in that way. I do think that, I've seen enough interviews of him outside the ring to think he's a good person. I think he's a good dad, and I think he's a good person. And I know a lot of people grew to dislike him and our channel, we made that perfectly clear. Jody used to make that very, very clear. Because of what happened with Bray. But I'm telling you all that I've heard interviews with him, and I think that was all Vinnie Mac's doing.
That was the old man.
Yeah, that was Vince McMahon. I really don't think that Goldberg made that choice, and I think that was Vince McMahon that did that. So, but yeah. So that's my honest opinion, and I couldn't be more honest than that. From the start, I didn't like him because I wanted the NWO to keep doing their thing, and so, but again, he did go under the radar. The stuff that he's done in WWE. Now, I saw him live wrestle Brock Lesnar, which was quite the quite the very quick match. I'll say that. I saw him at State College, and I think they wrestled for all of 10 minutes. Brock, of course, won, and I'm like, oh God. But so yeah, look, that's it. That's my opinion, Jeff. Yeah, go through it.
I have a very different opinion than most. I will say that having grown up where I did, and at the time that I did, I was able to see Goldberg in a different light. For me, if you've ever been in the gym, there's all the ways that one guy in the gym, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There's always that one guy that you see over on the bench throwing up like 405 or whatever, squatting like 600 or whatever, some ridiculous amount, throwing like 800 on the leg press. And for me, Goldberg looked like that guy that if I went to Gold's gym, I could run into Goldberg. To say early on that Goldberg was a professional wrestler, he would even say, and a lot of other people in WCW would say that he wasn't really a wrestler in the beginning. He was a big dude who had the look, who looked intimidating, who was athletic and had a background in football. They wanted to give him a shot and see how he did, and he took it and he ran with it. And I mean, he was like 100 and something and 0 at one point. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a tale of two careers, if I'm being honest, because what he did in WCW was kind of WCW's answer or kind of their rebuttal to what was next after Hogan. Yeah. Because the whole NWO thing was cool, but you had to have somebody that was up next. And I feel like they wanted to go there with Goldberg. And, I get the criticisms, especially when it comes to later in his career and some of the, hopping in the title matches after years of not being in the ring or being around. That got old, and I think that turned a lot of people off because it felt like he was taking opportunities from people who truly had been there grinding and had earned it. But, from a business standpoint, when you look at the name Bill Goldberg or just Goldberg, you play that music, people feel a way. They either love it or they hate it. So for one, I thought in terms of being a professional wrestler and what that means overall, I enjoyed the spectacle of Bill Goldberg. I enjoyed seeing him go in there and just spear the absolute crap out of people. Yes, William Regal or Steven Regal, however you remember him, depending on when you were introduced. The match with him and Regal was a clinic of Regal just showing him that he wasn't a professional wrestler. But I think in terms of the spectacle, especially when he started doing the stuff standing in the fireworks and breathing out the smoke, looking like a big dragon coming down to the ring. It was cool and it was impressive. And I, for one, the numbers were heavily inflated. But I've always appreciated him. I didn't like the stuff later in his career when it was basically just a cash grab and a ratings grab. But again, I grew up in the South and grew up just thinking he was the man. So, but I definitely understand the criticism, I'll say.
I think he fell prey, Jeff, some of it to Vince's reliance on bringing back legends.
Yeah.
Because that wears thin.
Yeah.
And especially when people were thinking that the spot should have been someone else's at that time.
Yes. Yes.
But again, see, that's something I don't think you could really hold him responsible for, because look, it's like the Undertaker said, when Vince calls, you go. You don't say no. You just go do what he asks you when he calls. And I'm sure that's probably what Goldberg did too.
If somebody's offering you a 7-figure check,
yeah,
you'd probably take it too.
Yeah.
Like what time do you need me? When do you?
Yeah.
Where do you need me?
Yep. Absolutely. So,
and for less than 20 minutes. Okay. All right.
Could you imagine the conversation? Yeah. If he called him on the phone and said, "Hey, Bill, you're gonna go beat the Fiend. You're gonna spear him. You're gonna beat the Fiend." And Goldberg probably thinking to himself like, "Oh dear God." Like,
First of all, and this is no disrespect to Bray Wyatt or the Bray Wyatt fans, but the first question he probably asked was, "Who is that?"
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm pretty sure he wasn't paying attention to the product, and maybe I'm wrong, but
it's possible because he was out of wrestling then. Yeah. And look, and that all could have been concocted in the old man's mind.
Yep.
To fix a problem. Because
that he created,
because he put the title on him when he rose up, and then he was stuck. He didn't know what to do with him. We all know that as fans, and so that was the way that he fixed it. So, but yeah, I can see it from both sides. All right, let's see what people are saying here. Can I plead the fifth? Says David. He got old very fast. My childhood, late 90s, he was a superhero. See, now that's what I'm saying, Derek. Yes. I was a kid. Couldn't see through the fact that he couldn't wrestle. He captivated me. Goldberg is overrated. Shouldn't have beaten Kevin Owens or The Fiend for the Universal Championship. As a wrestler, he was good. Had an undefeated streak. He has a golden career as far as now. He's way out of ring shape to be competing. Clown said, hated him the moment he pinned Raven. After Raven had a months-long feud with DDP and Raven finally won a U.S. title, Goldberg squashed him and destroyed the flock the next night. I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah. In WCW, went from an unknown in his debut to becoming the engineer until the streak was ended at Starrcade 98. In WWE, it was from promising to a disappointment. Don't let Bret hate in the chat for this segment.
Yeah, Bret Hart. Bret Hart is Bret Hart we might have Bret Hart in the chat just under some name. If you see some wild comment about Goldberg, then
yeah. David says I never got to see a lot of Goldberg until his runs with The Fiend, Dolph, and Roman. From what I've seen, he seems like to me a man who comes in and tries to somewhat bury who he faces.
That's the unfortunate reputation that the old man gave him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yep. Let's get Bret Hart's opinion on this. I'm kidding. As a whole, Goldberg has had a good career. Unfortunately, like most things, people only remember the Bray deal and the Undertaker Saudi fiasco. People tend to remember bad things. I agree. He shouldn't have had those moments beating Bray or Owens. They should have put Goldberg over. Captain says Oldberg, please. Wes is remembering Jody. Clown says the Regal match, 173-0, although his numbers may have been inflated. Goldberg had WCW running high. That stupid shit with Nash and the finger poke is what started to this. Oh yeah, well that's obvious. I personally like Goldberg in the beginning. I was biased a little since one of my first pay-per-views live was going to see WWE Starrcade 1998 at the MCI Center. Okay, fair enough. I remember Goldberg for his look and aura. He was dominant back in the day. Nowadays, not so much anymore. The game has changed with bigger and more athletic big guys. That's a good point. Goldberg's the last of his kind. Hi, Chris. All right. Well, there you go. The Goldberg character was one of the best in wrestling history. Aura, physicality, and the look. Yeah, and you know what, Jeff? It's funny. When you brought up the entrance, I forgot about the smoke. Yeah. I almost forgot about all that. Yeah. And how about it when he started bashing his head off the locker room door?
Yeah.
Come out with blood running down his head.
Blood running down his head.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. It was. I mean, it was a spectacle when they had the guards outside his door. And they would knock on the door, and they would come flying out of the door. Yeah, I mean, it was a spectacle for sure. So,
my mom asked me the first time that he came on. She was like, he either played football or he was in prison for a little bit. And I was like, why do you say that? And she was like, he just looks like a dude you just don't want to mess with. I was like,
very true.
That's he's
very true. Do you know who I thought of a lot, Jeff, when I first saw him? I think that probably the first time I saw him wrestle, superstar Billy Graham.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
When I first saw Goldberg, I'm like, oh man, okay. Like, and then my thoughts went right to superstar Billy Graham. They had a similar look, and I'm like, yep, okay. And that's and kind of. And that's kind of why, like, after the whole thing with the NWO ended and everything like that, I kind of got over it, and I enjoyed it. I kind of enjoyed it. So,
well, Joe, I know this wasn't a part of the question, and I want to ask this to you in the chat. What do you think overall of his WWE run? Just act as if he came in and WWE was the start for him. What do you think about that run?
Probably not nearly as much if he wouldn't have been in WCW, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Because to be fair, he didn't have great matches really, and like I said, I did see him live, and he got beat by Lesnar, and it was it wasn't even really close. And I was like, but the WWE run wasn't really as good, and probably not going to be something he's going to be remembered for.
I heard someone on a podcast, and I hate that I don't remember which one I was listening to, but I heard someone say that had obviously, and I understand where they're coming from. They said if Goldberg had walked into WWE with his look at everything as it was and said, I want to be a professional wrestler and I believe I have what it takes to rival your top stars. The person said that they would have looked at him and given him a chance, like on a house show or something, or a dark match or something, and they probably would have laughed him out of the building. But because of where WCW was in needing future stars, because the folks that they were relying on at the time were in some way, shape, or form aging out.
Yeah.
That he kind of hit right place, right time. And that he was able to take the opportunity and make the most of it because he was able to develop as he went along. I mean, the first few matches of Goldberg were rough. I mean, if I were his opponent in those, I'd probably be asking him why he hit me with some stiff, elbows and punches and kicks and stuff like that. Because, man, I mean, Bret Hart will tell you that he might have been a little too snug with some of his shots there. But man, it was like this raw like this uncaged animal almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would if I find that episode, because it wasn't that long ago, it was about a week ago. If I find the episode, I'll shout it out to folks on the next time we're on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, there you go, guys. That is the burning question of the week. And now we've got a lot in this next segment. This is our what to watch for. And there's a lot of stuff coming up, man. A lot of wrestling coming up in this coming week.
A lot of stuff to watch for.
Absolutely.
Whole lot. So we'll start with one that we talked about and follow right back up with Goldberg here. Saturday night's main event this Saturday, Joe.
This is getting good. I mean, the other matches that they're putting around this, obviously this will be the main event, but this is getting good. You know, now we got that Drew McIntyre match against Randy Orton. We're getting some good stuff for this one. And then, a lot of people were kind of talking about this, like the last one and the one before, like, is it getting a little bit too much? You know, are we getting a little bit too many of these now where it's not really being – I still love the nostalgia behind it. I love how they have all the, they had who was at the last one? They had a lot of they always get a lot of legends that are in the audience. And of course, Jesse Ventura is great on it too. So I'm always going to like it because it brings back memories for me from the 80s. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be good, Jeff. And they're as I was saying, and they brought this up on Busted Open. Who next weekend? Who's going to have the headline on Sunday? Monday. Who's going to have the headline? Who's going to make the most noise in the world of professional wrestling? And I thought it was a fascinating question when they talked about it on their show. Who is going to make the most noise in wrestling next week? Who are people going to be talking about? Is it going to be AEW from All In, which is technically their biggest pay-per-view of the year? Is it going to be that they're talking about Goldberg winning the title? Is it going to be, are they talking about, many of the other things in wrestling that are happening? But, it's a great point. WWE is they're purposely running stuff against All In. And so it's a very valid point. And that's why I was saying that, and everybody kind of was under the impression there is no freaking way that Goldberg's going to win. But think about it. If Goldberg wins the title, and this is the question they asked on Busted Open, and I think Bully Ray mentioned it too. If Goldberg wins the title, are you leading off a wrestling show on Monday with Goldberg winning the title? Or are you talking about something that happened at All In? Answer me honestly. You're talking about Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what made me think, are they going to pull that trigger? Or to the opposite point, if Seth cashes in, who are you talking about? You're probably not talking about AEW. So that's another thing you have to be aware of. But I don't know, that this one's shaping up to be pretty good, Jeff. I'm pretty excited for this main event.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes folks, I've heard a couple people say, man, well, they just don't have enough matches on this. I get that. But sometimes less is more. And
yeah,
you got a lot going on the rest of the weekend anyway. So, but yeah, I think the question for me with this match, Joe, is one that hasn't been asked a lot. Let's say that either of those scenarios that we've thrown out tonight, either Goldberg just winning it or Seth cashing in. What does that do for Gunther? Like, what do you do next with him? What's next for him?
Yeah.
Because now, I mean, he at one point, the thing that made him so unique and appealing is he was invincible. He was untouchable. Now he's lost to Jay. If he loses here, I mean, does his aura take a hit?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. And that's a great question, because that's what that may be a reason why they wouldn't do it. Because who are they going to be concerned about going forward?
Right. I mean, yeah, because you're not worried about Goldberg's future in wrestling. I mean, not to poo-poo that, but if he's saying this is my last match, unless it's just a ploy and it's like, no, it's not really my last match. I'm going to defend the title and then lose it the next. I don't know, but again, what does that do to one of your guys that at one point in recent memory was seen as someone who was untouchable?
Yeah.
Unbeatable at times. So,
yep.
All right. So, next up, we got Evolution.
I'm psyched for this. I said this earlier. I am really enjoying women's wrestling probably more than I ever have, and that's due to my fandom of TNA. I think mostly because of their Knockouts division. But I think I told you guys my thoughts about this earlier. I think this is great for WWE. I think this is great for the women. They have so many women in that company, and you could literally say, and I think, in years past, Jeff and I were dead set, and we would stand behind TNA being the best Knockouts division in all of wrestling. Well, unfortunately, I think they took a hit, because they lost a lot of people. They have a lot of people out for injuries and stuff like that. Now they're coming back, but I think firmly, the women in WWE and NXT, I think are pretty much by far the best women's division in wrestling right now, and I don't think it's close.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that spotlighted. You're going to see some legends. You're going to see some up and comers. You're going to see, people like Jade Cargill that Jeff mentioned earlier, Naomi, who Jeff and I have. She had a great run in TNA, and I'm glad to see that she's finally getting some due in the WWE, and all their young talent, Julia, Roxanne Perez. I'll tell you, I'm probably the most excited, I think, about this show than the others, and I think that's safe for me to say that I'm really, really excited to watch this show. Really, really excited to watch this show. So, Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be a great show. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking at the card right now, and, we've got Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley.
Yep.
Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus. JC Jane defending against Jordan Grace. We've got the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way match. The champs, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, up against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and 2 additional teams to be named. And then we've got Jade Cargill against Naomi in a no-holds-barred match. And then we'll have the Battle Royal winner gets a Women's World Championship match at Clash in Paris.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm telling you, I think it's going to be good. I'm really, really looking forward to that. Headlines will be whatever the most shocking. If Goldberg and Hangman win, then the headline is Goldberg. If Goldberg wins and Seth cashes in, then Hangman wins, the headline is Hangman. Okay. All right. Well, and we have the Great American Bash as well. And this, now, All In is when? It's All In Sunday?
All In the Saturday.
So this is directly going up against All In. Directly going up against All In. So, I mean, different times, obviously, I think, but but they're on the same day. So you're going to get a contract signing here: Joe Hendry, Trick, and Mike Santana. But yeah, look, man, NXT has been great. And obviously the little crossover and stuff that they've been having with TNA makes it a must watch for me and all of the TNA fans. So, I think this will be a good show. They're on at a good time too. They're on in the afternoon. There is nothing else really happening during that time. So why not? Why not? And NXT is not afraid to go up against it. Look, they've gone head to head with AEW and they've beaten them in ratings. So, why not? But it is something that they're doing that on what is AEW's biggest pay-per-view of the year. But yeah, NXT has been good, Jeff, and they've lost a lot of people, but Shawn Michaels still keeps them going down there, and they're just they've just been steady and they've just been good.
Yeah. NXT has been really good for me. I haven't been able to watch as much the last couple of weeks, but it's been really good, and I'm excited to see the card. We know that this contract signing isn't going to go well, so let's be honest.
Oh, for no way. Frankie could even get in there too.
Yeah. So
contract signings never go well. That's a staple in wrestling.
Yeah, never go well. So I'm trying to pull up the card for All In. So give me a second, but there we go. Okay, I've got the confirmed matches here. So we've got Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher for the TNT Championship. Mercedes versus Tony, champion versus champion match. Kenny Omega versus Okada for the AEW Unified Championship, winner takes all match. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Syndicate versus Jet Speed versus the Patriarchy for the AEW World Championship threat match. Mox versus Hangman Page for the AEW World Championship death match. Swerve and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. EVP titles versus world title shot eligibility. So that's the step there. Then you have the men's casino gauntlet match. Right now we know that Mark Briscoe, MJF, Mystico, and others will be in that one. Women's casino gauntlet match participants include Chris Statlander and others.
All right. There you go. So the All In fans will be checking that out. I'm kind of just glad they're not having it on a Sunday, and we could do a show next Sunday. Because otherwise, most of the time their pay-per-views are on a Sunday.
We can do what Trick Williams like to do, and we can just say, let's talk about it.
That's very true. Because we'll be back next week to discuss all of this.
That's right.
We'll be talking about the headlines and what is going to be the big stories.
We'll see what our headline is for next week.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Speaking of Jordan Grace for being cast in a movie called Welcome to Paradise. Nice. Good for her. Contract signings and weddings in wrestling are a disaster. Yes, they always are. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Well, there you go. I mean, that's a lot. That is a lot of stuff for wrestling fans to get into. All different wrestling fans. Doesn't matter who you are. I'm sure that there is something for you in all of the stuff that we're getting next week. Or maybe you'll watch all of it, because we know there are people out there that do.
The multiple screen wizards out there.
Yes. And don't forget to join Tazzy for the NXT pay-per-view as well. Make sure you check out Tazzy for all things NXT. So, all right. Well, I think we're getting to the end here, and it is time to end on a high note. So we are going to do our top 3 favorite moments of the week to end out this version of Between the Ropes. So, guys, play along in the chat. What were some of your favorite moments of this past week in pro wrestling? We try to end on a positive here. So give us your 3, your 2, and your 1 positive moments, favorite moments of the week of wrestling. So, Jeff, what was your number 3?
Number 3 moment of the week for me, seeing Mike Santana in that video package backstage telling us why he deserves to be the TNA champion. That was just, I was already a fan, but love that even more. So,
is Evolution on Sunday?
yeah, I'm looking up the time right now.
Okay, yeah, we'll check it because obviously, if we're not going to run our show into that. So, I wasn't aware it was Sunday. I thought it was a different day.
No, it's Sunday.
Let's see. What
it is at. Starts at 3 p.m., 6 p.m. Eastern. So,
okay,
yeah.
So that'll be over by what? Probably
9:30, I would assume.
Yeah. Well,
maybe we could do an abbreviated.
Yeah, maybe we'll do we could do like a quick review show or something.
Yeah.
After it's over. Yeah.
We can recap all the PLE Saturday Night Smackdown, all that stuff.
Yeah, we
can maybe do favorite moments or something like that.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we could do that. We could do it afterwards and just do it like Jeff said, we'll do like a recap of everything. So okay. Yeah, you'd be down with that. You could end your weekend with us. So there you go. My number 3, a hugging Charlotte Flair. I never thought I'd see that, dude. I never thought I'd see that. It was funny. My wife was watching wrestling over my shoulder. She very rarely ever watches. But I had it on, and my wife's like, who is that? And she looked, and I said, that's Charlotte Flair. And she goes, oh, my God, she looks so different. She said, my wife's like, I think she might have done something to her face. My wife said, did she get like a facelift or something? I said, oh, it's possible. I said, but she looks different because of the hair. But who would have thought that you'd see Charlotte run over like a schoolgirl to Alexa Bliss and give her a big hug? Never in a million years did I think that would end up being a thing from Charlotte Flair. The Charlotte Flair that we know, no way. So, yeah, I thought that was cool. I just thought it was a fun moment and kind of a reaction and stuff there. Who knows? They'll probably win the titles in my opinion, but will they stay friends? Probably not. It probably won't last very long. But I just think it's kind of cool. A little bit of a different spin on what Charlotte usually is. A little less serious and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought that was cool. I just thought it was a cool moment. All right, let's see. Number 3, Damien says Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair earning the right to compete for the women's titles at Evolution. Bonus Baby says Cedric Alexander name dropping John Cena. Clown says GCW 4th of July backyard wrestling show. What else, guys? What do you got as your number 3s? Got to hear from some more people here. What do you got as your number 3s? Got to have some favorites. What's your favorite moments of the week? Let us know. And we'll go to number 2. Jeff, what was your 2?
Number 2, I'm going to stay in TNA and rip off whoever says Cedric Alexander. Just seeing him in a TNA ring face-to-face with Mustafa Ali, given their history, knowing what they've done in the ring at WrestleMania, I'm looking forward to whatever we see between them. I really like the fact that he was the person that Tasha Steelz was calling. I really like that. So, so yeah, that's Cedric Alexander is my number 2.
Yeah, we were wondering about that. Who was she talking to on the phone when we saw that on the pay-per-view? Yeah, it's great to see Cedric back. Yeah, I mean, that's I went back and I watched the Masha and Killer Kelly chain match, and I gotta say, man, I miss Killer Kelly, man. I'm that's my number 2. The match between those two, they have great chemistry, the two of them. The fact that they were tag team partners and then they wrestle each other and stuff like that. I missed Killer Kelly. I think she's great, and it's great that she's back in TNA along with the Iconics and along with they're reloading that women's division, that Knockouts division, and yeah, I love seeing her come back right in time for Slammiversary. So it was great seeing Killer Kelly back, and I'm looking forward to to the future of what's going to happen with her and what's going to happen with the knockouts division. So that was my number 2. All right, let's see what people's number that we got. Andrew with his number 3. Mike Santana added to the TNA World Title match with Joe Hendry and Trick. Damien says number 2, the continued build to Slammiversary as a whole this past Thursday. Yeah, the show was really good. The show was really good when I went back and watched it. The show was really good. Cage versus AK-47 says Clown. My number 3 is Hangman promo. Number 2, Flair and Bliss winning. Alexa Bliss game versus the Wyatt 6 match from SmackDown is number 3. Bonus baby number 2, Charlotte and Alexa. Charlotte inadvertently tagging in Alexa by patting her on the head. We'll overlook that Alexa wasn't holding the tag rope. So, yeah, good stuff, man. All right, we're going to number 1, Jeff. Number 1 favorite moment of the week.
Man, my number 1 favorite moment. Seeing, so like normally when you see somebody get into a random tag team, you're like, man, that just really doesn't make any sense. How about Andrade's new tag team partner? I'm digging it. So, listen, I feel like we as fans were like, man, we need more tag team wrestling. We need better tag team wrestling. Put an emphasis on it. You could argue that SmackDown's tag team division at this point might be one of the better tag team divisions in wrestling right now.
Yeah.
You could make that argument, and I don't think many people would debate you on that. But yeah, kudos to them on kind of turning around SmackDown, because SmackDown for a little bit, going back to what we kind of started off the show with, SmackDown for a little bit felt like a chore to get through.
Yeah, it did.
And now it doesn't feel that way. So, SmackDown's tag division.
There you go. I have 2. I have a 1A and a 1B. My 1B, the new El Grande Americano.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Come on, man. Who of all the people they could have picked to do that, I never, ever would have made that choice. But it's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. I was cracking up laughing. And then the number 1 goes to what a lot of people are saying, and Jeff's comment too. The tag team stuff that they're doing, I love tag team wrestling. But on top of that, I loved seeing Eric Rowan showing out. Loved it. And, I'm really rooting for that guy because, obviously along with Bo, I think I feel most for Eric Rowan with everything that's happened between obviously Harper and Bray's passing. When we watched those promos when they came back as the Wyatt 6, of all of them, I think Rowan's felt the most genuine and like it was him talking. And I felt so much for him as an individual, and seeing him kind of just showing out a little bit in the ring again and being that devastating big man that we used to see was a fantastic thing to see. And yeah, look, I love it. I love that and how long have I said, when is WWE going to start emphasizing tag team wrestling? Well, they are, and they're doing it on SmackDown, and it's a reason to watch for me because I love tag team wrestling, always have, and so I think it's great, and I think the interaction between all of them, they have some really good tag teams, is great for the business and is great for tag team wrestling. So that they are my number 1. Everything Atticus Cougar is doing in GCW. Bonus Baby's talking about Spaceballs too. That was announced a good while ago.
Oh,
How about him, man? Mel Brooks, 99. The man is 99, and he looks amazing. When I saw him doing that commercial for that, I'm like, dear Lord, like, how old is this dude? And he turned 99, and he looks awesome, and he's going to be playing yogurt again.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So, I mean, good Lord. I'm just curious, though. Are they going to bring Rick Moranis out of retirement?
So I did see something that says that he is, I think the wording was mulling it, or I don't know, but
the poor guy, I mean, I saw stories about him. He got mugged and beat up and stuff like he's been through. And, of course, his wife passed, which was what led him to leaving acting in the first place. But if they do get him back, that would be awesome. I mean, obviously, recasting John Candy, of course, obviously, because John Candy passed. And, of course, Joan Rivers as well. But, to see the rest of them all come back, that's going to be a wonderful movie. It's going to be a lot of fun. Damien says, similar to Joe, I would say the chain match between Masha and Kelly. Bliss and Charlotte getting a tag team. Let me go to the number ones here. Number one, the rest of the aftermath from Nights of Champions, including the return of McIntyre. Damien says, Hangman Adam Page promo segment from Wednesday. Andrews 1A, AEW reaching new milestones with Dynamite 300 and Collision 100. 1B, the strong build for All in Texas. Really liking the AEW better by far. Okay, that's cool, dude. I'm glad you like it. And yes, Rick Moranis is coming. Is that confirmed? Because I haven't seen that was confirmed. I heard rumors, but I have not seen that was confirmed. But if it is, that's very cool. That's very cool. So, all right, guys. Well, look, thank you for hanging with us tonight. We knew it was going to be a longer one because we haven't been on in a good while. We hope to remedy that.
Deadline reports.
Uh-oh.
Bill Pullman and Rick Moranis returning for new Spaceballs.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So there you go.
That's awesome. You had to bring him back. I mean, come on, Dark Helmet. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah. That's gonna be great. That's gonna make so much freaking money.
Yeah.
So much money. That's gonna bury like all the latest Star Wars films, which is hilarious. But yeah, that's I can't wait. Next year's gonna be a great year of movies. I mean, I know. Well, I have an early screening ticket. I'm going to see Superman on Tuesday. I got an early screening to see it before it comes out, so I'm going to see that this week. Fantastic Four, which I am super excited for. That's coming out later this month, and then the new Jordan Peele movie is out before the end of this year. Next year, Steven Spielberg just finished his latest film and what could be his last. And it's another UFO movie. So, oh, man. I know I'm down, man. I cannot wait for that next year. And of course, Spaceballs coming back too. So,
awesome.
Yeah, man. Movies are going to be coming back up, and we're going to be seeing some good stuff. And I got my first look at Crystal Lake, guys. The first look at Crystal Lake. I'm so excited. And maybe Jason is finally coming back. So, Ludicrous Speed. Yes, we are going to leave you all with Ludicrous Speed right now. But yes, guys, thank you so much for coming out. We appreciate it. And again, make sure you join Jeff and Chris on Tuesday for another episode of Fireflies Forever. I'm sure they'll have a little more to talk about that post today from the Wyatt 6 and what that could mean. So make sure you join them on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back on Thursday as well. Of course, for TNA Watch Along, I may have to join later depending on when I work, but I will be here. And then Sunday, join us next Sunday. The time will probably change because we'll have to see when the Evolution ends. But join us for our, we'll do like a wrap-up show and just kind of wrap up the results from the weekend. Won't be a long one. So come and join us for that. And you can end your big weekend of wrestling with us and find out what our headline will be for that show for Between the Ropes next week. So Yeah, I'm excited for Superman bonus, baby. I
Yeah.
really am. I think it looks to me like even the music looks to me like I think they're going to bring back a little bit of the Christopher Reeve to Superman, and I think that's a great thing. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell to be notified about when we have all that future content. And thank you all so much for joining us on this episode of Between the Ropes. And from myself, and of course from Jeff, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the wrestling, and make sure you come out and see us when we have our shows. And we will talk to you all on the next episode of The Insiders. Have a great week, guys. Stay safe. Be kind to one another always. And hopefully we'll talk to you all on the next one. Have a great night, guys. We'll talk to you soon.